Hey guys, welcome to another episode of LJ's Garage. Behind me is a 2020 Audi A5. This one is the Sportback 4-door. And yes, you can get this in a coupe, convertible, a couple other styles and twists and variations. But we're going to talk about this one specifically. This is a Premium Plus. We're going to dive right in and talk about one of my favorite German auto manufacturers other than BMW. So I'm going to take you guys on a walk on the outside, hop on the inside, take it for a spin, and give you my thoughts on the Audi A5. The first thing that I'm going to point out is that you'll notice that it's in this nice mineral gray color, which is very nice, but it costs $600 if you want to pick a color other than, hear me out, you get two color options for free. You get black or white. But Audi does you a favor because instead of just plain black like you would get at like Ford or something,
Audi went full fancy and they call it Brilliant Black.
and the white, yes.
Aha, you thought I was going to say Brilliant White, but nope, in fact they decided to call it Ibis White.
And it's a fancy bird, so I kind of spoiled it for you. But moving forward, let's get right in to some of the cool features on the outside. So on the back side, you'll notice that it's got the sleek coupe styling, which there are some benefits and drawbacks to that, as I always point out whenever a car is coupe style. One benefit, the looks, because now you've got this sleek profile, makes it look a lot more aggressive, especially with Audi's nice body lines. But this back here is a hatchback. So it looks like it's a normal sedan and you can just pop the trunk, but no, it's a hatchback, which means more practicality. And that's always a good thing when you're buying a vehicle or anything that is gonna be your daily car. You want to be able to pop that hatchback and load your groceries, boxes, help your friends move, do what you gotta do. Pretty nice. So now up front, you'll notice that you've got this redesigned front end, and I'm going to start with the first feature, which are going to be these LED headlights. They're not the laser headlights, Audi's laser fancy technology. You've got to go to the Prestige trim if you want those fancy options, but you do get 32 LED lights. These headlights also do have high beam assist, which is a pretty cool thing. When it gets really dark and there's no cars around, high beams kick on. Something else that's pretty cool is if you go for the Prestige, you get the animation headlights. So it does a little dance whenever you unlock and lock and do those things. It's not really worth it, in my honest opinion. It's just kind of a gimmick, but it's also pretty cool. And then on the back end, you do get LED taillights as well. Man, just take a good look at this thing. Audi, you guys have outdone yourself with this redesigned front end. The Audi A5 looks better than it ever has. So moving on, you'll notice that you've got fog lights, which is pretty nice. And then you've got these vents here. They are fake, but they're only partially fake. There is a little bit of a hole right here. You'll notice that these body lines, they kind of follow the grille in a very unique way. So let me give you guys a more in-depth idea of what I'm talking about. So you can see right here, you've got this little grille, and then it's got these lines, and they just go here and a line, and you go there, line, and you go here, line. Someone took the time to sketch this car out and make sure that every body line on this was perfectly placed. That's a very German thing to do. I'm impressed. My God, I don't know how people live out here in Texas. It's toasty. This isn't like Florida. This is a whole new level of hot. So the sweat, it's just me burning calories. Pay attention to the car, ignore the sweat. I wasn't watching cops. Focus on the car. When it comes to the wheel setup, standard from the factory, you get 18-inch wheels. Pretty cool design, very simple, elegant. It's not going for the overall sporty look because that's reserved for the S5, which we'll talk about those numbers and the S5 and all that stuff in a little bit. But same thing, overall good body lines. You walk a little bit back. It's got these little side markers. It's got side mirrors, LEDs. Everything looks good. Like Audi's just done a great job with the little details to make the overall car fantastic. We're gonna pause for a second so I can show you guys this nice detail on this key here. Pretty sexy key fob, if I do say so. And you do get Audi's keyless entry, so you can just hit here to lock the doors. And then once you unlock it, I'll show you guys real quick. You'll see that it's got frameless windows, and so it's got that floating convertible type look. Now on the back side of the A5, you just go ahead and push a button from out here, and you'll see that you've got this nice hatchback. And I'll show you what the entryway to that looks like in a little bit. But I want to remind you guys that this is actually a power hatchback. So you can just push a button and voila, I'm gonna lose my hand. Just kidding. Here's another view, and I'm using the key fob this time, so you just double tap. Look at those sexy lights. Trunk pops. Pretty awesome. This one is used as it should be. So there's plenty of stuff in there for storage. Those seats do fold flat, and overall, really, really good space back there. Something else I want to point out is, unlike a lot of manufacturers today, Audi gives you a spare tire. And not only do you get a spare tire, you got a little inflator pump. Look, Ma, no hands. You do get dual exhausts, which they're there. It's only a 4-cylinder, so it doesn't sound like anything spectacular, but it does have a pretty clean, smooth, elegant sound. So I went ahead and I set the front seat for someone my height, about 5'9", 5'10", somewhere in that range, can fit in that seat comfortably. And then I'm gonna go ahead and hop in. And as you can see, well, let's see, can you guys see? Yeah, you guys can see. So I've got plenty of leg room in here. So really, I could sacrifice a couple more inches back, and someone 6'1", 6'2", their knees would definitely touch up there, but they'd be comfortable. And so I think this is actually a really good size sedan. If you're on the market and you have some large people in your family, even if you don't have large people, and you sometimes might, you do lose a little bit of that headroom, as you always do when you get the coupe styling. So something to keep in mind. And the back seat does actually have some luxury back here. There you've got your temperature controls, USB ports, your center armrest would be, and your cup holders. So take a look. Cup holder. Under the hood is a 2-liter turbo 4-cylinder that makes 248 horsepower, 273 foot-pounds of torque, does 0 to 60 in about 5.7 seconds. As for gas mileage, you get about 24 city, 32 highway. It's got a 15-gallon tank, and the only transmission option you get is a 7-speed dual clutch here in the US. And then the only option with that transmission is all-wheel drive, and that's Audi's famous Quattro system, which if you don't know about it, go watch some more YouTube videos. One of the best all-wheel drive systems on the market. Audi's been doing it for a long time. It's tried and true, great stuff. So I know what you're saying. LJ, what if that's not enough power? Well, if you want to spend about an extra $10,000 to $12,000, you can go for the S5. That bumps you up to a V6, and then that's 350 horsepower and a 0 to 60 time closer to around 4.5 seconds. I can't say that's for everyone, but I do like me an S5, I'll just say that. Good Lord, I have not stopped sweating since I've been out here. And I do it because I love you guys. I really do. But anyways, the cool thing with Audi and Volkswagen and all those different groups is that they do share this platform with a couple other cars, and one of those cars is the Lamborghini Urus. And I guess that's kind of some street cred to say, hey, this platform is the same one as the Lamborghini Urus, or Urus, or however they say that. I'm no pronunciation expert, so don't at me. Don't leave any negative comments. I'm sorry. Forgive me. Let's move on. Whew. Good Lord. I feel like I've lived in quarantine for so many months that I don't know what outside feels like anymore. And I'm sweating so much it hurts. Yeah. Now the interior, this is where I say that Audi has that leg up on BMW. And it's not because BMW has bad interiors. There's no such thing as a bad interior when it comes to German cars. Within a few minutes, I was already familiar and comfortable with a lot of the buttons, knobs, and touchscreen and infotainment stuff that's going on in here, which I'll show you guys a little bit better of a breakdown here. But the overall impression, fantastic. The downside, Audi doesn't offer a lot of safety features standard, and so you have to go for the Prestige to get all those fancy driving technology packages. All right, so here we are. Here's a better look for you guys. We'll take a moment to peek up. Look at the size of this sunroof. All your buttons and controls are right there in the center. Nothing to really explain. Power shade and all that. So you can move that other way whenever you're ready to get sunburn. Although it is UV protected and tinted, then you can also open your sunroof and keep the shade if you like. And that's always a nice thing. I'll start with one of my favorite things, and that's gonna be the screens and displays and everything tech in this Audi. And like I said, they've done a good job. They're one of the best in the industry when it comes to these displays. You do get a couple options as to how you want to set up your layout. And then if you go to the different drive modes, as you'll see here, which I don't like that Audi puts these buttons right here. I feel like they need to be this vicinity, but tomato to potato. Here we go. So you change the different drive modes. and you can do all this touchscreen as well. And then come back over here, you'll see that it says dynamic. And it just takes a couple minutes of clicking buttons and pushing things around to learn how to actually navigate this. And once you do, it's pretty easy. Very intuitive. On this left side, you'll see you've got your mirror controls, nothing fancy there. Although these mirrors, if you do flip it to the left, you'll see that they do fold. And then if you go the other side, right there, they are heated. Here you've got all your lighting controls. They are pretty tiny, but you do see little paddles. Pretty quick and responsive. Again, it's got a dual clutch, so it shifts like butter. Where a lot of manufacturers put their push start, Audi has your trip reset, and then down here is actually where you find your push start if you're unfamiliar with Audis. You do get ambient lighting, so you can have a little mini disco inside of your A5. And then here, there aren't a lot of blank buttons, but I'll point out the ones we've got. You've got your stop start, your parking sensors, and then this is for your display. So you could turn your display on and off. I love that Audi gives you a quick little button to do that. So when you're night driving, you don't need all these screens and distractions. Like you can slide your finger across, and these are actual buttons. So you can control and flick these little toggles. And then you get the nice little display to go with it. When you're ready, you can hit auto, let it do its thing. And everything feels good. Like, listen to that click. Those are, oh man, that's so satisfying. Cup holders in the doors, and then we'll go start talking about this screen where you have a lot of good interface, and it looks like a smartphone. Audi was purposely trying to make this look like a little smartphone setup, and everything is pretty straightforward. So let's say you want to go to your media, you can go to your media and you can connect the device, all easy to use. When you're done, you just go back to the home page and you can rearrange all these. So if you long hold on them, you can rearrange them just like you do on a smartphone. They don't dance like on the iPhones, like they're having a seizure or anything like that, but they do respond well. When you're ready, you can go to your phone apps and you can see you've got Apple CarPlay, Android Auto, as you'd expect for $50,000, but BMW decides you don't get Android Auto because they don't care about us Android guys. But it's cool. Another thing, you go into your vehicle, and this is where it tells you all your different drive selections. So you can see you've got comfort, auto, and dynamic. And with the A5 being all-wheel drive, you do have the option to basically change those dynamic settings, and it can send up to 80% of the power to the rear wheels. So it gives it a nice little aggressive feel when you're ready. If you're a dork and you care about your economy and stuff, you can go into the efficiency assist, mess with those things, but I'm not boring, so I don't do that. Climate control, you could go here. There's not a whole lot of settings to do from the touchscreen, which is great. So everything is handled down here with physical buttons. Good on you. Now let's talk about the driver assist. This is where you'll see some of the safety features included. So you've got side assist, so the car basically monitors you from the side. It'll let you know if you're about to hit anyone. You've got blind spot monitoring, all them fancy things. You can set how you want to be notified whenever someone's in your blind spot and all that good stuff. Not really much to dive into. You've got the Audi Presense, which is forward collision avoidance, and it tells you when you're about to hit, and you can decide how early of a warning you want. This one, Audi tells you to be careful because the car may not stop for you in time if it has to kick in, but basically it will tighten your seatbelt, it'll start pumping the brakes and get ready for a collision. You know, unlock your doors, roll up the windows, all that good stuff. You got your speed warning, again for boring drivers if you do need to make sure that you're not speeding, but nobody uses that. As you can see, pretty good. It's got nice parking lines, sensors. They'll start beeping here in a little bit, and you can kind of be your judge of distance yourself. When you're ready, just push the park button, and simple as that, you're done. Very nice setup, very user-friendly, great interior. Audi also has what they call the phone box, and it's this wireless charging pad, and then you just get additional storage. So it's a pretty nice little setup. You got a little Type-C USB port right there, and convenient. Very nice. And this is what the rear climate control screen looks like lit. One last thing I want to point out is if you click right here, you can do sync, and that makes everything the same, obvi. And then the other thing is if you go down to set rear, you'll see it blink a little bit, and you can adjust the temperature for the rear zone. If, you know, they're not able to, you got your kids back there, they may be in car seats, they can't reach, you can actually adjust that rear zone for them, and it's a pretty nice thing. So Put it back on tri-zone, and you're back in business. And I just love this wood grain that they use. I don't know if it's real, but it looks the part. Vroom, vroom. Here we go. Already from the get-go, I can tell you this thing is very comfortable. And it may be coming from a very super sporty suspension, but regardless, you can't expect anything less than comfort from Audi. This being the A5, it's more of a luxury cruiser with a sporty sprinkle. The S5 has a whole lot more to live up to when it comes to performance and sportiness, but the 4-cylinder in this, it gets up and goes, and it shifts well. If you're looking at one of these cars, you've probably already considered Mercedes and BMW, and I can tell you, you're gonna have a hard time trying to make a decision until you just sit in one and you'll know if this is like the feel for you. And if it is, then great. If it's not, don't feel bad, because guess what? There are a lot of other cars that want to compete with this. And the gas mileage also is amazing. I don't know if I did my math right, but on a full tank, you should be able to get somewhere around that 450, you know, on a tank if you're doing all highway driving. And I've heard people get better than that. So that kind of makes it nice when you're paying for that premium 91, 93. So if you know what I'm saying. The handling is sporty enough. The braking, sporty enough. This will not leave you confused that it's trying to be a sports car. And I love that. It doesn't seem like it has an identity crisis, where a lot of other cars, they're trying to do so many different things at once that they lose sight of the fact that you're either a sports car or a luxury car that's a little sporty, but you can't be a luxury sports car and have an identity crisis. Otherwise, you end up with a car like a fully loaded 370Z Touring that leaves you confused because you spent a lot of money, but you're not getting that much luxury, but you're not getting that much performance or sports car for the value, or for that price, I should say. So I love that this has that balance. Audi's like, you know what? This is the A5, and it's a very nice Audi. It's got good heritage. It's got comfortable seats. It's got a great powertrain, and overall, it rides nice. Thank you guys so much for checking out yet another episode of LJ's Garage. Be sure to drop a comment down below and let me know what your thoughts are or questions that you may have on the A5, as well as, consider subscribing. And if you're already a subscriber, thanks for checking out yet another video.